section. And what you would then do, woo! Hi guys, so today's video is going to be slightly, well, completely different from what I normally do. Sorry, I'm over here. I'm going to be making one of my favorite things to make, which is the Philly cheesesteak. Now, what you need for this is meat. I've actually still got it in the freezer at the moment. So the best way to cut bits of meat into like really thin slices is to actually just freeze it for a bit. So I'm just going to do that. Once it's ready, we'll start cooking. But what you'll need for this is 1 onion or more, depending on how many people you're making it for. At the moment, I'm just making it for myself. And then you have 1 green pepper. That's if you want it. Now, I don't normally have green pepper with my cheesesteak, but I thought to myself, you know what? Let's spice it up a bit. So we're going to use 1 of those and 1 of those. And what I've got is a little tiger batten. It's about, what, 6-inch batten? I don't know. Something like that. But what we're going to do with it, we're going to sprinkle it with some water to make it nice and soft. It's soft already. Like, if you see that, that's actually quite soft, but we want it softer. So what we're going to do first is prepare this. So get yourself some foil, roll it out. Either side would do. Let's see, is that going to fit? So what you really need to do with this is to actually wet it under the sink for a bit, not too much. So I'm just going to go and do that, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so now that's done. I should have actually cut it, to be honest with you, but we're going to cut it now. Okay. Be careful when you do this, by the way. I've got a really sharp knife here, so that's good. It smells really nice. It's very like, it's got a little lemony kind of tint to it. Okay, so that's halfway. My knife is now dirty, but I'm just going to open it up a bit. And it's nice and soft, as you can see just there. So what we're going to do next, I'm just going to rip it up slightly more, is just put it there. We're going to roll it this way. And I'm going to put this in the oven now for about 5 to 10 minutes. While the bread is being done, what we're going to do is just prepare our bits and pieces. So this is probably the most annoying part of cutting an onion for me, to be honest with you. I don't like it at all. And I like to use most of the onion, to be honest with you. Now, what we're going to do, let's see, what's the best way to have it? We'll just do it in halves. Okay, so just cut your onions up. Ooh, that's a bit dodgy. I'm going to cut myself today, I have a feeling. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to put this here. Now, be careful when you're picking stuff up. Oops. Use the blunt end of the knife, not the sharp end, obviously. Okay. So that's there. Going to get rid of this nasty little piece as well. Okay, now, when I used to work at Papa John's, there was a way to cut these. Now, what you do, Obviously you'd use a smaller knife, but you just cut it in like that, around this little stalky section. And what you would then do, woo, nearly, is you would pop it out. There you go. Okay, that didn't work out very well, but I am using a stupidly large knife. So I'm going to use half of this actually. I'm not going to use the whole lot. So I'm just cutting out the white bits here, as you can see. And I'm making sure that I don't keep any of the seeds, because the seeds are hot. Now sometimes if you can't get rid of them, you just run it under the tap and it should be okay. Okay, so there you go, your nice little green pepper. Just going to leave that to one side. So I want to cut these as thin as possible because they're going to be really chunky when you bite into them. So as thin as you can do it safely. Unfortunately, I'm only using one camera angle today. I didn't bother to set up the other camera, and I just wanted to test this out, to be honest with you, more than anything. Okay, so I'm just going to check on the oven. Yeah, that's okay. The oven's fine. So I'm going to cut these up further because I don't want really big long bits. Okay, that's kind of got mixed in. I'm going to put this to one side, as I don't need it right now. And I'm going to have a nice can of Coke. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to be really naughty here, and I'm going to use the same chopping board to actually chop or cut my steak strips, and that's because I can't find the other one. I don't know why. Okay guys, so here is the beef. It's actually been frozen for at least half an hour and it's slightly solid. So I'm going to use this now to start cutting. So what you want to do, normally it would be a good idea to actually use like a big piece of meat, but I'm going to use a little piece of meat because I was just looking for a quick and easy way to do this. So just going to take it off the edge like that. See that kind of really thin piece? Now that is the ideal kind of cheesesteak kind of consistency. Obviously bigger strips would be better, but we're going to use smaller strips here. So sorry, I'm actually left-handed, so you can't see the strips being cut because obviously I'm facing the wrong way. So I'm going to try this way, and you'll see how easily it cuts if it's slightly frozen. There you go, nice consistency. So I'm going to carry on doing this. Basically, you want it like thin, but not really thin. Like that's a bit fat, to be honest with you. But I can't cut it any further without causing injury to myself. Now, the good thing is, because you're cutting them thin, they're going to cook really well and really quickly. Oops, that's a bit thick as well. I'm not claiming to be a chef of any kind, but here we go. I'll just cut that like that. Now, the meat I'm using is just normal beef offcuts from supermarket. I think they're offcuts. I don't know how they actually do it. Okay, so not all of it's actually frozen properly, but hey, I'm hungry, so let's get this show on the road. Now, you'll see that you can easily make out of this particular amount at least 3 or 4 cheesesteaks, probably more, to be honest with you. Come on, there's a good cheesesteak. What you could do if you wanted to is just hammer it down to make it a bit thinner. That also works. So I'm just going to put this there. It looks like I'm going to only be using half. Probably less than half of this little packet. Okay. Look at that. That's beautiful. The thinner it is, the better it is. I don't think that is a full size sandwich yet, so let's keep going. Now, the best thing to do is get a really nice sharp knife. Now, this is a cheap and cheerful, well, it's not cheap, but it's a decent knife. It's brand new, this one. It's a Go Cook, and that's like a supermarket brand kind of thing. And I do like their stuff, to be honest with you. It's actually pretty good. I actually have a full knife block that's by them, and I've had it for like years now, and it's nice to use. I don't really cook that often anymore, but when I did, I really enjoyed it. So using the right kind of tools is actually a good thing to get the job done. Obviously, it's not about just the tools, but they do help. Okay, so I think this is going to be the last one. One thing I would suggest as well is, if you like your meat with a bit of fat on it, just get a different cut where you can actually see the marbling, and when you're cooking it will release these nice lovely juices. I think that's enough, you know, to be honest with you. So what we'll do is I'll wrap this back up and then we'll get to the second stage. Right, so we're ready for the cook now. So we've got the gas on, we'll get some nice lovely olive oil. I'm just gonna pop that around there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to position this so you can see it easier. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to put the peppers and the onions in. They're just going to sizzle there. And I've got my Go Cook tongs. I'm just going to mix it all up a bit. Now, you probably noticed that I've forgotten something. And I have. So what I'm going to do is just deal with that. So what I need to do is season my meat. I'm just going to simmer the meat now. Well, what I'm actually using is rock salt. It's nice and coarse. Okay, and then I'm going to use my roasted garlic and pepper mix. Now this is going to make it go out of this world. Just mix it in. Mix it in as much as you can. Now I'm making a mess here, but I don't care because this is going to taste amazing. So there we go, that's done. What I'll also do is add a bit of the garlic to here, garlic and pepper. Perfect. So I've got this now on a medium heat. You can see the onion starting to caramelize. But what I also now need to do separately is to cook the meat, and then I'll bring it together. I can either take the onions and the peppers out, put them in a plate while I cook the meat, and then bring back the onions. So let's do that. You could do all of this in one pan straight away, but I actually like doing it like this. So the pan's still hot. Put the meat in. Now it's a bit dry in here, but should be okay for cooking the meat. Now I've done this in so many different ways, but I find that this way is actually quite good as well. Now once they're about 50% browned, you can bring back the onions and you are basically ready. Okay, this is more than 50%, but there we go. Come on. So when you get it to this consistency, Bring the onions back, mix it all up. Now you're waiting for all the meat to turn brown. Now that's starting to look a bit more like a nice meaty sandwich. But there's something missing. It's called Philly Cheesesteak, and it's called Philly Cheesesteak for a reason, because it includes cheese. So we're going to get the cheese now. I think this needs a few more minutes yet, so okay, I think that's about ready. You could actually put in some soy sauce at this moment, but I'm not going to do that. So now we need to just introduce the cheese. So you can choose any type of cheese you want. I'm using cheddar, mild cheddar to be precise. So what you would do is that. I'm going to break this one up, so one there and one there. And there you go, it's all mixing nice and well. Look at that. Oh, that's just beautiful. Okay, so now it's ready to be loaded onto the sandwich, or into the sandwich. So let's have a look at this. It's piping hot. I think I've overdone it. Oh, actually, no, I haven't overdone it. It's perfect. So I'm gonna pop that there. Let's just open this bad boy up. Come on, that's way too hot. I'm gonna burn myself, guaranteed. Okay. So now all we need to do is load it. Ideally, you want to load it before the cheese starts to solidify. There are other ways of making this. There's other things to put in this, so give it a try. It's really fun to make. And if you don't know anything about cooking like me, this is probably one of the best things you could make for yourself and your friends and family. Okay, and there you have it, Ansar's Philly cheesesteak. You could cut it up, or you could just eat it whole like this. It's entirely up to you.